What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. It's always Falcons Nation, rise up. It is Falcons Friday, and I want to give y'all the pregame show for the Atlanta Falcons versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. We are back at home. It does seem like it's been a while since we played a home game, and that's because we had the bye week. We played Seattle at home, and then we had the bye week. So it's been about 3 to 4 weeks, almost a month since we've played a game at home. So we're back in the friendly confines of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I definitely want to go ahead and give you guys the breakdown of keys to victory of winning this game. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as I always do, break down the opponent. And then we're going to jump into what we need to do to win this game. But let's jump right into the video. As always, before I jump into the video, I want to thank all my subscribers. Shout out to Mad Mike Sports, who gave me a shout out on his page to tell some of his subscribers to definitely drop in and view my video while I talked about Matt Ryan and why he's a Hall of Famer. Man, I really appreciate it. Us Falcons YouTubers and Falcons fans definitely must stick together. I've been following Mad Mike and been a subscriber on his channel for many years now. It's been a couple years since I've been a subscriber of his, so definitely check out Mad Mike Sports page as well. And I appreciate him giving me a shout out, man. I really appreciate it. Also shout out to Lieutenant Dan. He's also I believe under the umbrella, or they work together and collaborate with each other's channels. Lieutenant Dan and the Unintentional Grounding, I also follow him. Shout out to those guys, man. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate the shout out. I'm definitely trying to get my page grown so I can start doing live videos. Of course, on YouTube, you can't do that until you're at 1,000 subscribers. So shout out to everybody, man. But definitely spread the word. I'm an up-and-coming YouTuber, and I plan on making this page as big as possible. I've been an Atlanta Falcons fan for over 20 years now. So shout out to all the Dirty Bird. Shout out to Dirty Bird Nation and everybody that's doing this YouTube thing. I really appreciate y'all. But back to the scheduled program. Let's go ahead and talk about this game in this week against Tampa Bay. Let's go ahead and jump right into Tampa Bay. So with Tampa Bay, the head man there at Tampa Bay, their first-year head coach, Bruce Arians. I'm a big supporter of Bruce Arians. I think he's a great offensive mind in this league. If you don't know much about Bruce Arians, I'm going to give you some background on him really quick. Bruce Arians started many years ago, but I started following Bruce Arians when he was the OC, or offensive coordinator, for the Pittsburgh Steelers for Ben Roethlisberger. He was there when they won the Super Bowl against the Arizona Cardinals. Then from there, he actually went from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then he got the job as an assistant coach with the Indianapolis Colts. And he was actually there when Chuck Pagano got cancer. And he ended up taking over the head coaching position, or he was the interim head coach, and ended up helping that team. I believe they made the playoffs that year, and then Chuck Pagano came back. And then the following year, he actually was hired as a head coach for the Arizona Cardinals for the first time of him actually being like a full-time head coach. He did take Carson Palmer and that Arizona squad to the NFC Championship game, where they fell to the Panthers. That was the year that the Panthers played the Denver Broncos, that 15-1 season for the Panthers when they lost to Denver in the Super Bowl. But Bruce Arians, that was his squad, Arizona squad, that went up against the Carolina Panthers in the NFC Championship game. So he has done some great things as a coach and an offensive mind in this league. He's very innovative, and he has done a lot of great things. He's definitely a great leader, and he's trying to mold that Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise. So good luck to him. But on Sunday, I hope we, definitely win this game, and I believe we will win this game. So let's jump right into the players that play for Tampa Bay. One thing about Bruce Arians, before I talk about his players, he does like to throw the ball deep down the field. So we must be ready for that. He definitely likes to put the ball in the air. He's just like Dirk Cutter in a lot of ways. When he likes to pass the ball, he's not big on running the ball. But let's go ahead and address the players for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As you know, their quarterback for the last couple seasons has been Jameis Winston out of the University of Florida State. With Jameis Winston, when he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, he's not. Or when he's cold, he's cold. He's one of those players where he can catch fire. I actually was at the first Atlanta Falcons game I actually ever attended was in 2016. It was the final year, the Georgia Dome, of the Georgia Dome. That was the year we went to the Super Bowl. I went to the first game of the season that season, and we played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we actually lost to Tampa Bay in that game. And Jameis Winston lit our team up. He was throwing the ball all across the field. I think he threw for over 300 yards, but he was throwing the ball all over the field, and they basically dominated our defense that day. So that's what I talk about when I say when Jameis Winston is on and when he's got it going and he's got it clicking, he's definitely a dangerous quarterback, especially throwing the deep ball. Because in that game in 2016 that I attended, they were throwing a deep ball. He threw the deep ball very well in that game. And as you know, the biggest threat on their team is on the outside with Mike Evans and now Chris Godwin, who's a speedster. They have two guys that can go deep. Both of those guys are very dangerous. Mike Evans is probably one of the most underrated. Him and Godwin are probably the most underrated wide receiver tandem in the league. They don't get a lot of pub, and I believe it's because they play for Tampa Bay and they lose a lot. So you don't hear a lot about them. But if you play fantasy football or if you watch other teams other than the Falcons on Sunday, you will see that Tampa Bay is very dangerous when it comes to throwing the ball down the field. And with Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich doing his play calls, they like to throw a lot of deep passes. Now, where that can get them in trouble is Jameis Winston is mistake prone. He throws a lot of interceptions. If you watch my video about Matt Ryan being a Hall of Famer, Jameis Winston is one of those quarterbacks that you might want to compare to a guy like Tony Romo. He throws a lot of picks. He can have big games, and he does have a lot of big passing games and big passing numbers, but he throws a lot of picks. Like I believe this year he's thrown like 19 or 20 touchdowns and 18 picks. So yeah, he can really throw the ball, and he has a good arm or a decent arm where he can throw the long ball, but he's a gunslinger like Brett Favre, where he throws a lot of interceptions. Jameis Winston is a turnover machine, and he fumbles the ball a lot. So in this game, I feel like we're going to have a couple turnovers in this game because Jameis Winston is turnover prone. He normally throws at least 1 or 2 interceptions a game and loses about one or two fumbles a game. He's been very, very bad this year and very, very bad over his career as far as turning the ball over. So I do believe that we have a serious chance of getting after them and causing turnovers like we did last week with those 4 interceptions for our defense. Now, for their running game, like I said, they don't like to run the ball. Bruce Arians doesn't like to run the ball. I don't know. I won't say that they can't run the ball, but they are a team that they like to sling it all over the yard. They don't put emphasis, and they don't do a good job of scheming up run plays. Excuse me. I believe the running back for their team, Peyton Barber, he's a decent running back. He played at the University of Auburn, and I know a little bit about him because I am an Auburn Tigers fan in college football. But he did play pretty well. He's a solid running back. He's one of those guys that will just hammer it up the middle most of the time, get you 2 or 3 yards. But one good thing about the Buccaneers, they're a team that goes away from the run a lot. They do not run the ball a lot. And to me, they don't give Peyton Barber, or any of their running backs time to set up the run. Like I said, Bruce Arians and Dirk Cutter are a lot alike when it comes to patience and running the ball. They like to have that quick scoring type offense. Throw deep balls down the field, make big plays, and a lot of 5-step drops, a lot of deep patterns for wide receivers. So this week, I don't really think the defense is going to have too much to worry about when it comes to Tampa Bay rushing the ball or running the ball, because they don't like to run the ball. And Bruce Arians doesn't do a good job, or let me say Byron Leftwich, which is the offensive coordinator, they don't do a good job of running the football and scheming up runs for their team. Now, that's pretty much it for their offense, other than their tight ends can be dangerous. So we definitely have to be careful with Cameron Brate. He's an underrated tight end. And they have O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard did attend Alabama University. And when he first came out, I thought he was going to be better than he has been in the NFL. He has had a couple of injuries, but I don't know if you seen last week. He had one play where they threw the ball right to his hands, and he basically he put the ball behind his back and ended up getting hit. Like, he basically fumbled the ball in the air, which caused the interception. So it was basically like a tip ball. And I've been watching. I do follow also Tampa 2, who's a YouTuber as well for the Buccaneers, and he's been talking about in his channel that O.J. Howard has been having problems with catching the ball this year for whatever reason. So I don't think that we're going to have too much to worry about. The only thing we have to be mindful of is both Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard can run up the seams. They're good at running routes and things of that nature. So we just have to be careful. But to be honest, Devondre Campbell and Deion Jones and our linebackers have looked good in coverage since the bye week. Devondre Campbell looks like he's found a fountain of youth, and he's been playing awesome the last couple weeks. He's leading the team in tackles this year, but he's doing a better job in coverage over the last couple weeks. And last week he actually had an interception. Figure that. Like, he had an interception last week, Devondre Campbell. So good job of Devondre Campbell. Keep up the good work, man. Now let's jump into the defensive side of the ball, which I feel like is probably the strongest part of the Buccaneers team this year, and that's their front seven. They have a great front seven. They're young, but they're still good. They're young in their linebackers and things of that nature, but they're very good on their defensive line. They do have Ndamukong Suh. They have JPP from the New York Giants, the longtime New York Giant. They also have Shaquille Barrett, and early in the season, Shaq Barrett got off to a great start for his sacks. I believe he has like 10 sacks this year already, something like crazy like that. So we definitely have to be mindful of him. Good news is Caleb McGarry has done an excellent job of stymieing and stopping good pass rushers, especially since we've entered the NFC South play. Caleb McGarry shut down Cameron Jordan for the Saints. He also shut down Mario Addison last week. He shut him out. So Caleb McGarry has been doing awesome, man. He's a dog. He hasn't been giving up any sacks for the most part. And Jake Matthews on the other side at left tackle has played excellent pretty much this entire year. He's played excellent. The only game I think Jake Matthews was a little shaky was that Minnesota game. But since then, he solidified that left side and been excellent. Our offensive line seemed like they've been getting it together. So as much as I want to talk about how good I believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers front seven or their defensive line is, I really don't see a problem. We do have to be careful and be mindful. Don't allow them to get after Matt Ryan. But to be honest with you, I think that our offensive line will be prepared for this game, because I think Carolina and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers both have good defensive lines, and we shut out the Carolina Panthers last week. Like, I didn't see a bunch of sacks for them last week. So I expect the same this week. I also meant to mention in the middle they have Vita Vea. He's another guy that they have. He was one of their first-round draft picks out of Washington University, I believe, last year. So they have a lot of guys up front. Of course, they don't have Gerald McCoy anymore, and I believe that's the reason they drafted Vita Vea, to take Gerald McCoy's spot. Now he is a Carolina Panther, so we don't have to worry about that headache anymore when we face Tampa Bay with dealing with Gerald McCoy anymore. So I don't expect too much out of their defensive line. I believe we can be able to stymie them. They are good up front. We're just going to hope that they're not able to get to Matt Ryan in this game. With that being said, they're young at linebacker. They do have Devin White, who I was a big fan of, and I actually wanted the Falcons to draft him. He reminds me a lot of Deion Jones. I believe he wears number 45 like Deion Jones as well. But he played at the University of LSU, and when I watched his tape, he reminds me a lot of Deion Jones. So don't be surprised if you see another 45 or another middle linebacker flying around out there for their team, because they do have an excellent linebacker. I'm not too sure if he plays outside linebacker for them, because I believe Levante David, who's also an excellent middle linebacker, is the guy that plays middle linebacker for them. So I believe they have Devin White actually playing outside linebacker. But both of their linebackers are great players. For many years they had Levante David and they had Quan Alexander. But Quan Alexander ended up signing with the 49ers last season, or this past season, this offseason. So now he's a 49er. So this year they have Devin White and they have Devin White and they have Levante David in the middle. So they have a great front seven. The problem with their defense is actually the back end. They had a first round pick, Vernon Hargraves, and they actually cut him 2 weeks ago. So they're very young on their back end. For many years, they had Brent Grimes. I don't believe they even have Brent Grimes anymore. I believe he doesn't play. I think Brent Grimes may have retired, if I'm not mistaken. But he was a longtime Falcon, and he played for the Tampa Bay for a lot of years as well. But I don't think he plays for them anymore. So they're really, really young on their back end. They're at the corner position and at the safety position. They're very young back there. So I do expect Matt Ryan to have a big day because they're very, very young on their back end. And last week, Michael Thomas and Drew Brees exposed their back end last week. Their secondary got really exposed. So don't expect too much out of their secondary. Most of their talent on their defense is in their front seven. But with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about our Atlanta Falcons. So in this game, I do expect Matt Ryan, as I was just saying, to have a big day on the offensive side of the ball. Keys to victory that I want to talk about, as always, number one, get off to a fast start, and that's always in my keys to victory for this Atlanta Falcons team, because as I mentioned in my previous videos, if you haven't heard it, I'm gonna be like a recorder and say it again for you every week. Get off to a fast start. Atlanta Falcons, this team is not a defensive team. We are an offensive juggernaut. So as well as our defense has played, no disrespect to our defense because they've played excellent the last couple weeks and they've kind of carried the offense. But this is an offensive team, the Atlanta Falcons. If we can get off to a fast start, it's not many teams that can beat us in this league because we're the type of team where once we get ahead of you, you cannot match points with us. And we're going to definitely be able to put up big points because we have excellent wide receivers, excellent special tight ends, and excellent running backs. So it's hard to stop our offense. Our offense is very potent, and we do have that championship pedigree on the offensive side of the ball and also on the defensive side of the ball, but definitely on the offensive side of the ball. Everything starts with Matt Ryan at the quarterback position. Like I said, I expect him to have a big day. So we definitely want to get out to a lead and make Tampa play from behind. And I do see that happening. I do expect Matt Ryan and Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, all of those guys, Justin Hardy, Russell Gage. I expect all of those guys to get off this week, man. Last week, we got to see Jaden Graham get some more snaps because we are still out with not Julio Jones, but Austin Hooper. He's still out with injury, and he's probably going to be out for another maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So we're going to definitely have to keep the ball rolling. Also in this game, we must run the ball. So number one, get off to a fast start is the one key to victory. The second key to victory, we must stay balanced on offense and run the football. Because within the last couple weeks, as we've seen since we've been 2-0 since the bye week, I definitely love what I've seen out of Dirk Cutter. I've seen different reverses and different schemes. I've seen more imagination out of our offensive coordinator. I've seen excellent run and pass mixes, which keeps the defense of any team off balanced. Meaning they can't just pin their ears back and say, we're going to get after Matt Ryan, which I felt like early in the season, because we got off to slow starts and teams were able to pin their ears back and just come after Matt Ryan with a reckless abandon, like bats out of hell, just coming at Matt Ryan. But if you're able to run the ball, even if you're not running the ball with great success, you still want to run the ball, even if you're getting 1 and 2 yards to clip, because that keeps the defense off balance. Meaning, if they're blitzing and screaming off the edges, you can do delayed draws and it's going to open up lanes for whoever's running the football for us, whether it's Brian Hill, whether it's Quadre Olison, or whether it's Kenjon Barner, who has currently been running the football. So we kind of had a three-headed monster with the youngsters, the Thundercats as I call them, Brian Hill and Quadre Olison. Shout out to Quadre Olison last week at his first touchdown run of the season. He was out there punishing guys. He was running guys over. That's what I like to see. Like I said, I love the bigger running backs. No disrespect to Devontae Freeman. No disrespect to Ito Smith, because Devontae Freeman is one of my favorite running backs of Atlanta Falcons history. The way he runs, his running style, and his vision, his jukes and cuts are beautiful, but I definitely like to see bigger running backs because they're able to break a lot of arm tackles and run through you and punish the defense, especially in the fourth quarter, as you seen last week, where Brian Hill had a big run on the outside and Quadra Olison was able to hammer it in on the goal line. So we definitely want to keep it balanced. As I said, Dirk Cutter keep mixing up that pass and those passes and runs. And when you're running the ball well, or even if you're not running the ball well, but you consistently run the ball, whether you're running for a 1 yard a clip or 3 yards or 4 or 5 yards a clip, you want to continue to keep the defense off balance, because what are you going to be able to do? And I mentioned this last week in my keys to victory against the Panthers. Once you start running that football, those linebackers are going to come screaming down, and that's going to open up voids behind those linebackers, especially if they're playing a lot of that Tampa 2 or that cover 2. It's going to create huge voids for Julio Jones, for Russell Gage to catch those slant patterns. It's going to create huge voids in that zone coverage. So we definitely want to run the football so Matt Ryan can play action these guys. Number 3 is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. We must cause turnovers and give Matt Ryan and that offense short fields like we've been doing since the bye week. And I've loved what I've seen out of the defense. I love the move, and I have been talking about it all season long. I love the move of moving DeMonte Casey back to the free safety role, playing at center field, where he can ball hawk and lay those big hits. And Rico Allen being placed in that strong safety role to be down there in the box with the linebackers, talking to the linebackers and the defensive line, and being the brains of this defense and being a communicator. I've loved what I've seen, and I believe that has caused teams to turn the ball over. I love the adjustments that Dan Quinn made with moving the coaches around and moving Raheem Morris back over to the defense, and also moving allowing Jeff Albrecht not only to coach the linebackers, to also call plays. So if we can keep that chemistry going of Jeff Albrecht calling first and second down, Raheem Morris calling third down defense, I love what we got going on right now. And I'm kind of like this: if it's not broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I've gotten a couple questions in my inbox or comments under my videos asking, what should we do next year with the defensive coordinator position? Should we let it be Raheem Morris 100%? Should we let it be Jeff Albrecht 100%? To be honest, I like how those guys are collaborating. So as long as neither one of those guys get the big head and want to take over the full role, I wouldn't mind continuing to do it the way that we're doing it right now, where they both are collaborating on those defensive calls. Because I don't know about you, but 4 eyes is always better than 2. So I love both of these guys giving their input, because Raheem Morris has a ton of experience being a defensive backs coach, and Jeff Albrecht, being a former NFL linebacker for the 49ers for many years, has a lot of insight on the front seven and on the linebackers. So that's the reason I feel like those guys working in tandem has been great. They've been putting guys in great positions to succeed, and that's what I like to see out of these guys, man. So I would keep it the way that it is, as long as neither one of those guys, knock on wood, doesn't get a head coaching position next year. Hopefully we can keep this staff around and keep these guys both collaborating on the defensive side of the ball with the defensive calls. But excellent defensive calls from both of these guys the last couple weeks. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum and the wheels churning. But like I was saying, I expect a couple of interceptions this week against Jameis Winston. I expect this defensive line, and a lot of people, I haven't heard anybody really giving Dan Quinn credit for this defense. But if you don't know, Dan Quinn is actually the defensive lines coach. So all those people that still discrediting Dan Quinn, saying, see, when Dan Quinn took his hands and his fingerprints off the defense and gave it over to his assistant coaches, these guys have played better. Let me come to bust your bubble. All these people that's not giving Dan Quinn zero credit for this turnaround. Dan Quinn is a part of the turnaround, because I don't know if you've been watching. This defensive line has been playing like their hair is on fire. And Dan Quinn is the one who's working with the defensive line. He's working with these guys that's doing these stunts and all these different movements. It's not just Jeff Albrecht and solely Raheem Morris that's working on these defensive schemes and, working and collaborating. Dan Quinn is also collaborating with these guys, because as you know, Dan Quinn is a defensive genius. He's a defensive coach. So he's another coach that's also has his fingerprints on this defense. So don't think that it's just all Jeff Albrecht and it's all Raheem Morris. No, it's Dan Quinn as well. So shout out to Dan Quinn as well. Shout out to the total coaching staff of them all collaborating on this defense. Shout out to Dan Quinn and getting Vic Beasley in the right position. Also helping these guys become better pass rushers because, like I said, since the bye week, this total defense made a 360. We definitely have turned the corner. I talked about that earlier on in the season, that this defense just needed time to gel and that they would turn things around, and they've done just that. So key to victory number 3 is get turnovers and give Matt Ryan and that offense short field so we can run the score on these guys. My final key to victory in this game is just maintain composure. No matter what happens in this game, don't get too high, don't get too low. Just stay composed. Even if you don't have the lead, stay composed in this game. Do what's got you here. Continue to do what's been working. Don't change anything. Definitely continue to do what's working. So whatever routine this team's been doing for the last 2 games, continue that routine. And all of these players, I appreciate Dan Quinn. I don't know if you heard his interview earlier this week last week talking about he didn't want to take credit for the win. He said he wanted to give the players credit for this turnaround. So I definitely want to give a shout out to all the players that's turned this thing around. All of the young players, Isaiah Oliver in the secondary, Kendall Sheffield. Shout out to not Isaiah Trufant, but Desmond Trufant. He's been balling out, man. He came back off an injury and had an interception, man. Shout out to that man, because all of these guys, man, were under fire. All of these players and all of these coaches, everybody was under fire, man. I was hearing a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans talking about trading everybody and talking about, where have this been the whole year? Why are we just now turning it around? I don't care where it's been, to be honest. I felt like this team needed time to gel. That's what I feel like the whole issue was. Now that this team has had time to gel, let's just be happy that the Falcons are back winning. Because I don't know about you, but that long 6 weeks of losing streaks was dismal. Like, I hated it, man. I had so many people talking trash when they see me walking around with my Atlanta gear on. I had so many fans talking trash, talking about what happened to the Falcons this year. Had people feeling bad and feeling sorry for us. I do live in Orlando, Florida. So I am in Tampa Bay Buccaneers country. Being that I live in Orlando, it's mostly Tampa Bay fans here, and there's some Jacksonville Jaguars. Most of them are up north, but it's a ton of Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans here, and they've been asking me pretty much all season, what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons? Why are y'all losing? Whatever. They haven't really been talking too much trash because Tampa Bay's not doing that well this year either, but they just been saying, like, why are we losing? So I'm glad that we're back winning. We're back being a winning franchise. I told you guys early in the season, don't panic that it wasn't over. And I still think we have a chance at this division. We just have to continue to win games, take games one game at a time, and keep it going. I really believe that this Atlanta Falcons team has a chance to make a huge run. I can't promise the playoffs. Like I heard, it's like a less than a 1% chance that we make the playoffs, but there's still a chance. So all we can do at this point is do our part and see at the end where the chips may fall. But we just have to continue to keep this momentum up. I feel like we're the only team, or the main team in the NFC South right now, that has it going, that's on fire as far as a win streak. We have it going. The Panthers are sliding, the Buccaneers are sliding, and the Saints, they took a bad loss to us, but then they followed it up with beating the Bucs. But I still feel like the Saints are still iffy. And if we can win this game this week, it's going to be a big showdown in Atlanta on Thanksgiving Day this coming Thursday. And I'm so excited for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you enjoy the Thanksgiving season that's getting ready to come up. And the Christmas season, the holidays are upon us. So I will be doing another video ahead of the Thursday game. I'll probably do my video like Tuesday or Wednesday of this coming week. But that's pretty much all I have for this game against the Buccaneers. Like I said, I do expect a big Atlanta win. I don't like to give score predictions, but with it being said, man, this been your boy Jew. Please like, please share, please subscribe. As always, man, Falcons Nation, rise up. Like I said, it's Falcons Friday. Y'all enjoy all of the other games that'll be going on this weekend, man. Definitely watch the Atlanta Falcons game and support the team. Go out and fill up the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Hopefully all of those people that have the season ticket holders and things of that nature, hopefully they go out and pack it out, man. Hopefully it's a sea of red out there with our Atlanta Falcons jerseys. Hopefully the last 2 weeks, this Atlanta Falcons team has gave the city something to buzz about and be excited about, because I know prior to the bye week in Seattle, in the last couple games, the stadium was looking empty. So hopefully, the fans have found their heart, and hopefully the bandwagoners have come back out and come tailgate and come be live at the game, because these players need y'all out there cheering. They need y'all out there early booing the Buccaneers, and hopefully we can cause some issues like on first downs and on third downs where we can get these guys off the field. We can get these guys rattled and cause some offsides and some encroachments and things of that nature. But like I said, this been your boy Jew. Please like, please share, please subscribe. Also, follow your boy on Twitter. I've been meaning to put that in my videos, but I've been forgetting. Follow me on Twitter. My handle is also @JewTalkSports. So go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I'll be putting information up there as well. But as always, man, shout out to everybody that's repping this Dirty Bird Nation. I appreciate every single subscriber. Like I said, the goal is to be one of the biggest Falcons YouTubers ever. I love this team. I'm always going to give y'all that the content that you want and need. But this been your boy Jew. I'm out. I'll holler at y'all in the next video. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Peace. And I'll be back with a post-game show probably on Monday. All right. Peace.